Let's go to the next segment, continuation. I tweeted today that this article that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to back up why I said this. This is one of the lowest moments in the history of American journalism. No hyperbole. I'm not going to say it's because I don't know every moment. It is one of the lowest moments. We're going back to this quote. Sussman allegedly pitched the allegations that we know that he knew allegedly we knew that Jaffe knew was bull. They went to the New York Times with it. You think the New York Times knew it was bull? Of course they probably did, allegedly. So they took that there. So can you understand? So Sussman went to the New York Times. So imagine you have a newspaper and the lawyer comes to you with a white paper, just basically a whole thing detailing why Donald Trump he's working with the Russians. And you find out it's a lie. Wouldn't you be angry or at least point that out? Instead, the New York Times has a headlines that say court filings started a fervor in right-wing outlets, but their narrative is off track. You're the ones that had lies fed to you directly by the guy who's being indicted. And they come out with that? This is Charlie Savage. I quote from the article, but the entire narrative appeared to be mostly wrong or old news. The latest example of the challenge created by a barrage of similar conspiracy theories from Mr. Trump and his allies. They're trying to disorient you. We don't know what's real or true anymore. Ask your common person what happened. They won't have any idea. And this also gives ammo for those pro-authoritarians to say, oh, I can share this link. Doesn't have a fact check in the title because the fact check stuff is getting real stupid. That stuff might go debunked because it's getting really stupid. Nobody cares about this title of fact checking anymore. So he's giving those pro-authoritarians, here's the ammo for you to fight back when neutral parties or even Democrats or people on America First say, what's going on with all this spying allegedly stuff? Unbelievable quote right here. Listen to this. Upon close inspection, these narratives are often based on a misleading presentation of the facts or outright misinformation. They also tend to involve, wait for it, please listen to this part. This is from the article of Charlie Savage, the article headline I just read for you. They also tend to involve dense and obscure issues, so dissecting them requires asking readers to expend significant mental energy and time. And raising the question of whether news outlets should even cover such claims. This is one of the worst pieces of journalism I have ever seen in my life. That line alone, much less the other issues, is one of the most bizarre things I have ever seen put in print. He basically said, y'all don't need to get too deep into this kind of stuff. Y'all are too stupid. He just said, you, me, everybody, you are all not only deplorables, you are too damn stupid to understand what's going on. This is what the Democrat GOP establishment think of you and me. He literally put it in print. Why is this not? I mean, this is the biggest story in the US right now. The New York Times said the information in not just this, he's speaking generally speaking, all these issues that we talk about, Joe Rogan talks about, that we might get wrong at times, we have to do corrections or clarifications. He said they're too dense and obscure. It takes a lot of mental energy and time. You're goddamn right, it takes a lot of time. I'm doing it because you're not. Unbelievable. Raising the question of whether news outlets should even cover such claims. I don't even know what to say at that. I'm just gonna keep on moving. I have no idea what to say. And then he's using this whole thing as an example of what he just talked about. This latest example began with the motion that the special counsel Durham filed in the case about his possible links. So they were talking about, well, it includes some old and new information. I put a link to the filing directly in the YouTube. We don't need the New York Times. We can read it and look at it ourselves. The indictment further details, on this date, 2017, defendant provided an updated set of allegations. including the Russian bank. So now we're talking about after the election. That's new. That's not what we talked about in the last segment, relating to Trump to a second agency. So what we talked about, if it's September, was the FBI. What we're talking now is the CIA. Who goes to the CIA? So Sussman did the same thing he did with the FBI, allegedly, to the CIA. Who goes to the CIA with information that the CIA should know is bunk? He expected the CIA to be in on this cabal to do whatever they needed to do. And here's my opinion. This is allegedly. It was basically, I'm here on behalf of Hillary. Boss, the one that was allegedly with Pete Davidson, like Hillary. So I'm here on behalf of Hillary, Mr. CIA. Do what you need to do. That's what it comes across to me. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. Why would you go to the intelligence agency that should know what's real or not with no verifiably false information about Trump? If it wasn't a message that, hey, you all need to make this happen. That's what was going on. It's right there in the documents, Charlie Savage. I don't need you. This one was not hard to read. Tech Executive One, I showed this yesterday, and others had assembled pertaining to Trump Tower, the New York City apartment, the EOP. The EOP is the Executive Office of the President. So this happened after he was president. How could it be the Executive Office of the President if he wasn't president? Who was he getting this from, Obama? So for Savage, he said none of this, he didn't cover this, so none of this was newsworthy for him. All he said was setting off a fervor in right-wing outlets. It's right there, Executive Office of the President of the United States. So it's afterwards. And they were talking about cell phone uses. The defendant further claimed that these lookups, when he was talking to the CIA now, demonstrated that Trump or his associates were using rare Russian-made wireless phones. Do you remember that? Rare Russian-made wireless phones in the vicinity of the White House. How would they be using phones in the vicinity of the White House? Were they outside the gates? Were they just outside the gates with it? Or it would be after they were president? I'm going to end with this. Percentage of Americans, this is from Axios, who trust traditional media is just falling off the cliff. Nobody trusts them. Why would you trust? This is just garbage. Why does that matter? The faith matters because if we don't trust the government, we don't trust the media, then where are we? There's no glue holding it together right now. I talked about yesterday, people know the stories. People are still missing this part of this story, of this polling. Even today, it says they poll people who are following what we just talked about, not people who don't know it. People who are following it, 75% of them say, yeah, you got investigated. 2/3 of Democrats. So we were chatting on Twitter, and Bumbletron said he had a lengthy discussion with his wife about what's happening. How can we hope to have an informed conversation with any of our lefty friends and family if we all literally live in two separate realities? The truth isn't the truth for both of us. How are we going to do that? Somebody else came in and said, bingo, we're literally operating on two separate sets of facts. Is the sky blue or red? Then I said, we need revolutionary change. The civil conflict route is not revolutionary change. What it is getting people to fight against each other, and that gives the oligarchy the advantage because they have institutional power right now, and half of the people are with them. Revolutionary change is people on both sides holding the government accountable. So the government's not controlling either group that's making the revolutionary change. They don't want people to unite for that reason. Bumbletron said it. We go back to Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party back in 2008. They wanted to make sure that those two groups would never be the same. All you have to do is throw race into it. And now critical theory makes it even stronger. I talked about it. Hillary Clinton's comment, after you read all this and find out, you're like, man, she really said that about citizens knowing all this stuff, allegedly? Let me know what you think.